everybody, welcome back to Arma 3 mission making in 15 minutes or less, and today we're talking about JEBUS. Well, jumping into the guys' GitHub page, you'll see that it is the just editor based unit spawning. I'll put a link to hit this in the description, but essentially a modder called Dread has put in a capability to manipulate a whole bunch of different things within the engine that make it a really useful tool for things like saving frames, for things like delaying the initial entry of entities into the game, to delay spawn and to stagger spawns in the game. I've not used the Gaia stuff, although it does work with Gaia, and we're not going to go into that here. But where the cool things are the pause function, which allows you to have things spawning, but not if guys get close. We'll see it in the tutorial, but there's a whole bunch of things in there that JEBUS gives us, the vanilla engine doesn't, that I find really useful in my mission making stuff. So let's jump in and have a look at a few of them. First of all, you kind of need to put JEBUS into your mission folder. So you're going to go into the GitHub page, download it, and then we're going to add it to our folder. So you can see here, I don't know if you guys remember, but I have essentially a folder with a bunch of different mission making downloads in them. This is my JEBUS one, where essentially it's the JEBUS folder, the description, and the README. And all I'm going to do is add these across into my mission folder, and I will replace these files at destination because they're exactly the same. And all the description does is add the JEBUS folder and the function contained within it, and then we're going to use the functions from JEBUS in game itself. What are the functions, I hear you cry? Well, you probably saw it there on the GitHub, but if you don't, there is a README, and in there you have what each of the commands do, but also more importantly you have a bunch of examples of how to use the commands. I can never remember it, so all I do is I'll take a line from here, cut and paste it, and jump into the game and then start adding what I want to add. Let's go and see it in game. Okay, so here we are in game. We've got a few things going on. The first one we'll look at is cache. That's probably the most common one. So if you've played Arma 3 a lot, and particularly if you've got a big group and you've got a lot of Op4 down on the ground, sort of 300 or 400 enemy, then it can be quite consuming on your CPU. Wherever you're putting in JEBUS, you need to jump into the lead element, as with anything, into there init, and then you're dropping the code in here. This one is cache, and it's 1,000 meters, so essentially this unit will be cached until a playable character gets within 1,000 meters of it, and then they'll come back to life and do their thing. In this instance here, they're just going to go and garrison this building. So that's kind of one of the quick and easy and simple things that we can do with JEBUS. What was the second thing we could do? Well, we talked about delaying a spawn. So we've got a trigger here, and this is if blue 4 are present, and I've just put this marker down here so that I can actually see when we spawn in. But if blue 4 are present within this area here, then it's going to start. It's just going to be any player present is going to trigger the trigger, and we go back to the guys. And we've got it on this vehicle and on this guy here. Go into our lead element, and it's basically going to put a 30-second delay on the start. We'll make this one 15 seconds so you can see the stagger. If you're spawning in a bunch of Op4 entities all at once, if you delay that start by like 5 seconds, then you don't get that really bad lag, an FPS hit, that if you spawn them all in at the same time. Let's go on to our vehicle. Make sure we've got the actual right one. And my driver, and he's got in here, so he's got a 30-second start there. And we're actually going to change that to 20. And we'll see why. Explain why in a minute. That's that one, and the third one we talked about. We're going to go for these guys here. We've got respawn markers. And we've got an array here of different markers. So if you've seen the respawn tutorial, it's not too dissimilar to that. I'm going to get them to spawn one of these 3 random locations. You can see that we've also used the lives command here. So if you wanted to have a, well, in this instance here, let's say Blue 4 are coming in to raid and secure this town, and you want to have some counter attacks going on. You want a bunch of random ones, yeah? You don't want to have like 100 enemies on the ground at the same time, though. So what you can do is put these guys down, they'll go in, they eventually, you get killed, and they'll respawn at one of the random locations. What you can also add is, if we go in and we do here, is pause equals, and then let's say 150. And what that will do is if a playable character gets within 150 meters of a spawn point, then they won't use that spawn, they'll spawn somewhere else. And so really useful, really good fun for complex urban environments where you're clearing through a city and you want the enemy kind of coming at you from all angles. And this is just a really simple way of doing it. You can achieve the same thing with scripting. You can absolutely achieve the same thing with scripting. I just find this a lot easier to do. However, that said, it does have its limitations. So let's say we're going to take these guys here, and I'm going to make them, because I hate wedge and running, but they're going to be full speed because they're doing some kind of counter attack, and they're going to be staggered column, and in fact they're going to be diamond formation, and they're going to be combat and open fire. That's what I want them to do. Okay, they're not going to do that. When they spawn in on JEBUS, it then defaults back to the wedge and running. So if you wanted these guys, in fact, let's do another one. Let's copy these so we can compare. So what we can do, same code, is you are going to have a move, and then you can adjust on here. It can be open fire, walking, column, and behavior is aware. It's not on load. It should be move. Move there, and then you can be. What are you going to do? You're going to garrison somewhere just for funsies. Task garrison, garrison there, that building. So these guys will see, they will walk because we've changed the settings on here. If we go back down the chain, that's what they've changed to. Okay, so these guys we want to not be in wedge formation and running, but they're going to be in wedge formation. These guys are going to default into, we want them in this kind of diamond thing, and they're not going to do it until we put them into the diamond thing, shall we say. So we'll see the difference there. And then finally, I did say I'd come back to this element here. So I want this to be kind of this dynamic reinforcement. Yeah, these guys to jump in this vehicle, and you've seen us use that. If I snuggle over this way, so if you remember the waypoints tutorial, assuming you've already seen that, essentially what we've got here is these guys get into this vehicle. The synchronization between the move trigger and the get in trigger means that once these guys are in the vehicle, this vehicle will move. Without that, the vehicle essentially takes off without them. You're going to see that happen here with JEBUS. You're going to see these guys are essentially going to want to get in this vehicle, but this vehicle is going to do one because JEBUS seems to override that that synchronization. What else doesn't JEBUS like? JEBUS does not like garrison modules. So if I do these guys and copy and paste them and put them on this random hillside over here, and I go to systems and garrison. I need to garrison this location, sync to here. Curious, shouldn't work. So where we got these guys are cached and they're not going to spawn to within 1,000 meters. But I wonder. I'm testing and doing tutorials at the same time. Let's see what happens. So sync to. So when you start off with JEBUS, there's a little tiny bit of movement before the caching kicks in. And I wonder if this will teleport them before that caching kicks in, and then what will happen. In theory, nothing should happen. They should be just stood there, and these guys will be stood here. So we'll see some guys in the vineyard. And some guys out of the vineyard. These guys will definitely just stay here and do nothing, because that garrison module's doing nothing at all. But these guys here might teleport. Let's put them over this way so they're in this building here. Might teleport at the very start. Who knows? We're going to find out. I'm very excited about it. So those are all the things that we're talking about. Those are all the things we've looked at. Let's see it in game. Okay, there's too many things. It's taking too long to get in, and we're just going to catch the end of it. So the guys have got into this vehicle, and you can see that the vehicle is driving off. So that's the one without JEBUS, and it works fine. Let's go back over to our JEBUS area, which I've now forgotten where it was, around La Trinité. Oh my god, it worked! So it's cached, and they've spawned into the locations, but I think what's going to happen is these guys are now going to then get into formation, essentially being around this building, I think. So we'll see that. But they have got a hold waypoint, so you never know, But I'm pretty sure they're just going to end up being like these guys who are supposed to be garrisoning in here, and they've ended up with a hold waypoint. What else have we got? We've got our little patrol dudes, so you can see them there cutting about. If I now blow them up, JDAM's always good for that. They're all dead. So in the next 10 to 20 seconds, we'll see them spawn over one of the other spawn points. What else are we going to do? We're going to move our guy. So if I do H utility, and then I want teleport players, drop that down here. There's me. I'm outside that area, so we haven't triggered the spawn over here, but I'm now within inside cache range. So these guys are going to go and do their garrison. These guys are within cache range, so they're doing something. I'm not entirely sure what, but they're doing something. And these guys are they going to garrison it? Are they garrisoning it? You never know, you might have fixed it. I reckon if I run north about 100 meters. Is that north? Oh, that's good. I'm inside the circle. So in like 10 seconds, we'll see some guys spawn here. And then 5 seconds after that, we'll see the vehicle spawn. And the guys will try and get in the vehicle, and the vehicle's going to drive off. That is, in theory, what should happen. There's my guys. There's the vehicle. Not even going for the vehicle anymore. They've just done one. This was not kind of working. Limitations. But as I say, the ability to... Is it not? Oh, I think they're getting into their weird formation. Because why is he in the middle of the road? Why is he over there? I thought it was working. But no, we're stuck out here in wedge formation. Oh, I got excited for nothing. Oh well, c'est la vie. So you can see the difficulty there in that it's not going, clearly not going to work. They're going to, they're not going to occupy. But what it does give you, as I say, let's move the dude out. It does give you that cache function. So these guys will then disappear once you get within a kilometer away. And if you want them to garrison, if you want to do the garrison stuff, you can use a garrison waypoint. So you can achieve it in other ways. There are just those minor limitations. Synchronization between units doesn't really work. So if you want some dynamic reinforcement, put the dynamic reinforcement in the vehicle and then do like a get out at the other end. And we've talked about the using it as a random spawn points at different locations. Guys, that is it from me for JEBUS. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks very much. Take care.